When Tom retired, that meant the Niners missed out on 2 years of Tom Brady when they chose Jimmy Garoppolo over him. Now they've missed out on 3 years of Tom Brady, right? Like, the longer Tom Brady plays, that is what the Niners passed on when they watched the film and decided they'd rather have Jimmy Garoppolo.
That's a good point.
So that's just the reality of it.
They made a decision and felt a little bit better after this year. It did not look good in 2020. I wouldn't say justified, because again, if they could do it over again, the answer, there is no decision to be made, right? But you don't get do-overs in life. I do think you at least can hold your head high after this season, but it continues. Like, you still get judged on it. Like you said, we thought it was over, and if he is truly coming back to Tampa, which take the guy at face value, you get judged again this year, right? Can you make the playoffs? Because here's who I know is making the playoffs if Tom plays 17 games. Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Lock, right? I'd even say he plays over like 12 games, they'd feel like a lock, right? Because they're winning 9 of the 12. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, so it's just like Tampa's the heavy favorite to win that division. I mean, the Saints don't have a quarterback. Panthers are a fucking joke. Who has the other team in that division? Falcons? I mean, give me a break. You could say that just based on route, Tampa and Green Bay, just how bad their divisions are, should be about the same. 6-7-1 to win the NFC.
Yeah, I mean, who out of the NFC North and the NFC South, so the four you mentioned, plus Green Bay, plus Minnesota, Chicago, Detroit, if we say Green Bay and Tampa are going to the playoffs, who's the next team? Like you said, I agree with you. Minnesota's probably the next team, but it's hard to know. I mean, Kevin O'Connell.
See what happens with the Saints quarterback, because their roster is good, but again, Dennis Allen's been a coach one time, and it was a complete embarrassment. Now, I think him and his family and his representation would be like, did you see who we were fucking playing with? And you'd be like, yeah, I did. You have some merit there, right?
Yeah.
But he just, we're depending on some coaches. Kevin O'Connell's never coached a game. Dennis Allen's been a coach once, and it was awful. Matt Rule is completely over his head. Atlanta, Arthur Smith might be good, but their team just sucks. Detroit is just, they have no talent. Chicago, they're blowing it up. You could argue that, like, between the next Green Bay and Tampa, I mean, it's pretty shitty. You would just take the Saints. They do have just a lot of core guys. But, I mean, is Kamara going to get suspended for 4 games after beating the shit out of that guy? I don't know. You'd think. Like, he beat him up. Like, that happened. Right. It doesn't feel like Kamara's a lock to get at minimum 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Ridley's gone, but he missed a lot
I just think, I like to look at it even less divisionally and just more from a conference standpoint, right? With 7 playoff teams, that last year it felt like for most of the year there were like 5 really good teams in the NFC, and it felt like you eliminated one, and it was going to be just be solid from a Trey Lance standpoint, just be solid, and you're a playoff team, right? And maybe that still applies for the Niners this year. Just be solid, Trey Lance, and you can be a playoff team. But it just takes out just a little margin for error. If you said, because I would say, if we talk about it from a conference standpoint, not a divisional standpoint, then it's Green Bay got Rodgers back, Tampa got Brady back. The Rams, I think, just having won the championship is only going to be good for Matthew Stafford.
And brought the band back. They're all coming back. They've all announced, basically, right?
So, that's, it's now 7 teams, so that's not half the NFC, but now there's 4 spots. Okay. What happens with Seattle now is a really, really, it becomes a bigger deal now that the NFC got a little tougher. Is it Deshaun or is it not? That's a huge deal for Seattle. Does Arizona figure it out with Kyler? It's a huge deal.
So I think Jeremy Fowler, but I think a couple people have alluded to this. Seattle did not view Drew Lock as a throw-in. They plan on starting him.
Okay. So, again, I don't want to say, if I really think about it, it's easy to say this puts more pressure on Trey Lance. I don't think that this particular thing does, although in some ways you could say at least for 1 week it does, because they play each other. And now Tampa, San Francisco is pointed out on the stream, like Buck and Aikman, Peyton and Eli, they're going to be $60 million of broadcasters broadcasting that game on Monday Night Football.
Niners play Tampa this year?
Niners play Tampa this year in San Francisco.
That'll be a big fucking game.
Or Santa Clara, right?
Yeah.
So you have Buck, Aikman, Eli, Peyton. Eli and Peyton might come on site for that game. Well, probably not, but It's like $60 million of broadcasters, John. It's a big booth.
It really is.
It's a big booth. Hey, Greasy's going to be there. So it's perfect.
Oh, my God.
So, I guess, does it put more pressure on Trey? No, but for that day it does. Because you don't think on the list of games Tom Brady wants to win, we could probably rank them at some point, but that one's going to be really, really, really high.
Yeah, that's as good as it gets
for him.
I'd say their Rams games are up there, but that to me, his return. Has Tom Brady ever played at Levi Stadium? I don't think he has. I mean, obviously he's never played at Levi's, but has he ever played? Maybe when we were in college or whatever, he might have played a Candlestick. But when I think of the Niners playing New England, the last decade, the 2 times they played him, in the 8-year rotations were both the Harbaugh game was there. Remember the shitty weather game?
Yep.
And then Kyle, they played them, the Cam Newton team, and beat the shit out of them. Remember there? Mm-hmm. So that's the 2 games over the last decade.
Yeah.
I don't know the previous decade. I don't know if he has. But I think the rotations.
He played at Levi's, George said. You remember that game? What was that game? Brady.
New England?
I mean, it would be kind of crazy, right, that he played in the league that long and never played a game at the Niners, but what?
Tom Sula? Chip Kelly?
Gabbert. He played. Chris says Ali says Chip was the coach. It was against Gabbert in 2016. Rainy game.
I don't remember that, but I don't remember the Chip Kelly era really at all.
2016.
Remove that from my memory.
Let's check his game log from 2016 real quick here. Appreciate you. I like a good crowdsource research. Patriots won 40-24. Brady threw four touchdowns, 280 yards passing. Niners fell to 1-9, John, after that game, and the Patriots improved to 8-2 after that win. Well, I got Kaepernick here. Kaepernick 16 of 30 for 206, 2 touchdowns, no picks, took 5 sacks. LeGarrette Blount.
If you put a gun to my head, I wouldn't.
Marmar says played at Candlestick in 05.
Can you name one moment of that Chip Kelly, Belichick, 49er, Brady game? I couldn't name you a play, a tackle. I mean, my memory, and I remember some random things. I must have been zoned out on that bad boy.
That could have been mid radio transition. I mean, I know it was.
Yeah, but we did podcasts during then.
No, I know. I don't. Somebody said he played at Candlestick 05. I don't.
Yeah, like I said, he might have played in the 2000s, but who cares?
So, this one is the first time he's played for the 49ers since the Niners said, "No, thank you, Tom. We don't want you to be our quarterback."
Yeah, he's gonna be pissed off on that one.
He's gonna. He's
just your classic. He does the Michael Jordan, right? Which is healthy. Just try to create motivation.
Yep.
Most of the greats do. And it's an easy one because it literally happened. Kyle said, no, we're sticking with Mr. Jimmy.
This is the man who cried about being 199 long after he became the superstar that is Tom Brady. So while some people have put some things behind him, Tom ain't one of them.
It was a long day. Remember when he said he went on a walk with his dad?
Which day was you talking about? The retirement day?
No, I'm talking about when he fell in the draft.
Oh, the 199, yeah.
And he was talking to Steve. He was like, it was a long day. And they started crying.
Yeah.
And it is. Can you imagine if you are waiting to be picked? Me and you tune out the third day. Can you imagine just waiting? You're like, this takes forever. You'd be emotional. I understand where he's coming from there. You're just driving yourself nuts watching that fucking boring thing.
Who was the one I watched the other day? A guy that went undrafted. What was I watching? Was it? I don't remember. Doesn't matter. So I guess there's no more debate. You and I had the debate. Some people thought we were crazy. Some people thought we were over the top. We did not. We still held on. Could Tom be a 49er? Trey Lance's team now. I mean, that part of it's done, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's been Trey Lance's team unless Tom wanted to come here, right? Like,
Yeah, I
Tom
mean,
wanted to come.
Trey Lance's team I'm talking John Middlecoff and Guy Haberman's mind. I think I am now announcing to the world I was 98% Trey Lance's team. Now it is 100% Trey Lance's team because I did keep 2% for Tom Brady. Not everybody did, but I did.
Agreed.
And you did.
I did too.
And I don't feel I don't
feel bad about it either. Nope.
and I saw that video and I was like, holy smokes. Yeah. I feel great about it.
I'd go 99.9% Trey Lance's team. I'm still holding out a little hope he pulls a power move, but not feeling great about the power move that's going to be played.
Good point.
I don't think it's likely, but listen, we live in a world where every single smart human, whether it's sports, whether it's fucking politics, whether it's whatever, never say never. You never know, Don't feel great about it. Don't feel good about it at all. I don't think it's likely. I don't expect it to happen. But if you tell me like Tuesday morning, there's a story that they've had some discussions and things are getting weird. It's like, you never know. I'm ready. I'm got my my head on a swivel.
Yeah.